My name is Gianni Russo, a.k.a. Carlo, the infamous son-in-law from The Godfather. I'm now known as the Hollywood Godfather, and this is my story.
Before all of the wins in my portfolio, I was a little boy diagnosed with polio. Experimenting with cures, I tried every one. Felt everything in my right, but my left was numb. Walking with a limp, like will I ever run? Once again, or is this it? Am I forever done? Living in the hospital was never fun. Some people were cool, but not everyone.
Everybody, it's time for Hollywood Godfather podcast. It's the first show for 2024, and I have a lot to tell you guys since we took a little break for 30 days, and you're going to find out why. And we're back. This is our first show for 2024. We're very excited. We got some news today that we're going to tell you. We have a new co-host coming in from Boston, very experienced man in the podcast world. You'll know about him. He'll tell you some of his past. But before we get into him, let's bring in my favorite lady in podcasts, Jeannie Raymond. How are you, my darling?
Hi, I'm great. I'm so happy to see you again and get to chit chat. I've missed it, and I'm so happy we're back and real excited to have a new friend joining us.
Yes, before he joins us, what were you doing in the last 30 days that we haven't spoke? Or should I even ask? Let me say this, is it broadcastable?
Unfortunately, I do need to get back to my wild days, but I haven't done anything, a lot of snow shoveling. I've done a lot of that, but it's been a bright sunny day today. So I'm glad to be out of the snow for a minute, but nothing too exciting to report, but hopefully I'll have some stuff coming up in the next couple weeks.
All right, well, great. Well, I have so much to say, fortunately. I've been blessed for many, many years, and I got all kinds of announcements. But before we do that, I want to bring in Mike DeSasio from Boston, who is a podcast host of his own show. And we brought him with us because we think he's got so much to offer to us. And I think you'll appreciate who he is, who some of the people, the celebrities he's already interviewed. But I'll have him say that with no further ado. Mike, welcome to Hollywood Godfather podcast.
Thank you so much, guys, for having me on. Again, this is a high honor for me. You and I go way back, Johnny. I had you on my podcast a couple times way back when you came out with your book, The Hollywood Godfather. It's an incredible read about your life story. Fascinating, as your audience does know. So I'm glad to be on board with yourself and Jeannie and Mike. So what I'm going to bring to the show, Johnny and Jeannie, is a little bit about my background. I'm a big classic movie guy, classic television kind of guy. I love the black and white films. In my opinion, they were well written. The women were beautiful. The guys were handsome. They were dashing. Everything back then, in my opinion, was better. The storylines, the directing, the arcs, everything was fantastic. Even the scandals back then, Johnny, were way better, in my opinion. Marilyn Monroe's of the world and the JFKs of the world. You know plenty about them.
Well, that's all about my era. It's so funny that you say that because I was a big fan of black and white, Cagney and Bogart, and I got to meet all those guys early on. And that's what got me interested in the film business long before I thought I'd be in it. And then when I had the opportunity, but like you say, I mean, the new genre of film, and I don't know how you feel about it, Jeannie, but the storylines are weak. They're just, I like, I'm good friends with De Niro and Pacino, but I think they're just doing it for the money now. I don't feel the passion, the story. I mean, like, right now, because of the winters, I'm watching more TV than I wanted to, but I totally agree with you. I mean, as far as that goes. So I think, and that's one of the things that attracted to me when I read your resume and your lineup of people that he's already interviewed. Isn't it amazing, Jeannie? Did you go through some of this stuff?
It was incredible. I was reading that list and thinking, oh my gosh, I immediately started looking for the podcast. I'm like, I've got to go and find the Hollywood Kid and check out that podcast and that huge.
Guys, when you're doing something like you guys do, when you're doing something that you're passionate about, it's not work for you. It's fun for you. You enjoy doing it. So that's what happened to me. I just got on I just walked into a radio station one day on my regular work that I do, and I just asked the radio manager, nice guy, I said, "Listen, I was just kidding. I was like, can I get a show here?" And he said, "What do you do?" I said, "I'm the Hollywood Kid. I'm a big movie guy. If you need a lifeline for who wants to be a millionaire, you call me. That's what I do." So he said, "Put something together," and that's what we did. And I started with celebrity interviews. My first guest was Robert Davi.
Robert's a good friend of mine,
Really? Wow. Yeah, he's a great guy.
He started in a motion picture for me, and he was very good. Him and William Forsythe.
Yeah.
In fact, I got recognition with the film at the Cannes Film Festival.
Oh wow. Wow.
Yeah, it was one of the 16 movies I produced. So, and Robert's now, he's a big Sinatra fan.
Oh yeah, he sings now. He's a singer.
Everybody's singing Sinatra. That's amazing to me.
Nobody tap dances anymore.
Oh, those were the best. Those were the best. Movie stars didn't have one talent.
Right.
They
Back
had
then,
a lot of them.
Right. They were called the triple threat. They could sing, act, and dance. Like the talented people on Broadway. I mean, if you look at anybody on Broadway, even nowadays, they got to be able to sing, act, and dance, and that's it. So today's Hollywood it's a big money grab, and it's all the Marvel comic books and all that crap, which doesn't really appeal to me. It's if I got to watch a movie in color, I break out in hives. You know what I mean? I get a rash because it's a shock to my system.
You should buy a black and white TV. Then they're still around.
There you go.
I see them online. Yeah, I see them online. I'm like, wow, that's a great TV.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, if you're that passionate about it, I'll buy you one. I'll send it to you.
I'll take it. I'll send you my address after we get off the air.
It's funny that you say about movies now, because I watched a movie the other day and I don't even remember what it was. That's how much it stuck with me. But it was going, and I've noticed this in several movies. Here you are, you're all into it, and then all of a sudden, boom, the last 10 minutes, it's over. And I'm thinking, it's almost like they just thought, okay, we've done enough, and the movie's over. And I've noticed that a lot with movies. But I'm just gonna say, you said stuff about Marvel, and I'm a big Iron Man fan. So I don't watch a lot of movie, but I'll watch Robert Downey.
Robert, but you know what it is, guys, in my opinion, you know what it is? There's just too much of it. There's so many streaming apps. It's everywhere. It's how can you just binge on something, and when you got other stuff that's like flagging in on your phone? Try watching this one. Watch this one. It's just so much. It's overwhelming. So that's what I feel about today's. But don't get me wrong. I mean, there's stuff that I watch. Don't get me. If I see something I get into, I'll get into it. But it really takes a lot.
You're just saying you're a movie snob, kind of.
Movie snob. Top Gun. I mean, I thought Top Gun was great. That's how you make a movie.
That's right.
Those are
movies. Like you said, the production value and the budgets have been cut, and the stars are taking most of the money, and it's not on the screen. But talking about a guy called, Robert Downey Jr. I mean, this kid, I met him early on, and I babysat him after coming out of his drug rehab stuff, and I produced a movie. I did 3 movies with Michael LaBelle and Andrew Bergman, and the one that he was in was The Chances Are with Sybil Shepherd. Right. And I don't know if you remember that movie, but I was the nemesis in it, and I really like this kid, and today he's one of the biggest stars in the world. He's never changed his personality. He'll see me on the street, and it's a lot like Leonardo DiCaprio. Because when they were doing Titanic, they were my guest in Mexico, staying in my house, when that's where they did the miniatures in Fox Baja for Titanic. But those kind of people, I like because these new Varouche people, I
Yeah,
mean,
right, right,
they're so arrogant, and that's why their careers are 2 or 3 years.
right, right.
I
The
I actually had a problem with the Pacino because we were doing a movie called Any Given Sunday. We had 28 movie stars in that, and we were in Denver on location. And he's like, but I mean, he is truly an introvert, so I understand that. But when little kids come up to you and he's trying to
right.
hide from them, I tell him, why don't you become a monk? Go in the hills and get out of here.
I know, I know. I don't know. Some guys they get wrapped up in that whole Hollywood thing, and they, listen. There's no Hollywood heaven. I hate to burst their bubble.
Yeah,
You know,
hello.
no heaven for Hollywood people. And, so it's, but a lot of what I did, if I did it I still do the podcast. It's called Real Talk with the Hollywood Kid. It's up on my YouTube channel. Go there and subscribe. We're gonna get some stuff going with that channel again. There's a ton of content on there, and a lot of what I like to do is a lot of the Hollywood murder mysteries. Like the Natalie Woods of the world, the Johnny Stompanatos of the world, Ronnie Chasen, George Reeves, who else? The Black Dahlia.
You know what's so scary? I know all the people you're mentioning.
I know you would. How about Kitty Genovese? You know Kitty Genovese?
No, I don't know him. Who's that?
You know her. You know her. She was murdered, and there was like 38 witnesses, and nobody did anything. It was a famous story back, and I think it was in the 60s sometime. Anyways,
Isn't
but
she the reason they started the 911 calls?
very good.
Am I
Yes.
okay.
Yes. Very good. Very good.
Wow.
Yes, that's the reason why. See,
She
That's
she's
right.
got tremendous knowledge. That's right.
it's unbelievable.
See, all the
Okay.
components we have now are adding something to it.
You
Well,
get three. You get three Italians together, move their hands, we'll solve the energy crisis.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, that's impressive. That story behind that is because all those people sat there and did nothing.
Right.
And so it's funny all the different things that turn out to be helpful and things that impact all of us down the line. And too bad somebody's life was taken in
Right.
the meantime. But yeah, I remember, and I'm sure I heard that on a podcast as well. So
Yeah. So that's what I do. I do a lot of murder mysteries. Sal Mineo. I did a show about Sal Mineo when he got murdered, and there's just the Black Dahlia I mentioned earlier. But then I get a lot of celebrity guests on there. I did Michael Madsen. I had Larry King on there. I know Johnny knows Larry very well. He knew Larry very well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
But
and
the interesting thing about even the name of your show, because you both read my book, that was the name the kid that
Yeah.
Frank Costello gave me when I was 13. Nobody really knew my name until I made The Godfather. I mean, certain people did, but in the world, I was known as the kid, and he did that to protect me because I didn't realize the mission he was going to put me on. But he said, call me the kid. That was it. In fact, the second time I met Sinatra, he said to me, because I was at the Copa Cabana in the afternoon, and I saw a line around the building already. And I was like, 14. And I go downstairs, and when I was turning 12, Carlo Gambino sent a transistor radio to Bellevue Hospital through his niece to give it to me because I come from the neighborhood, Mulberry Street. And when I turned on the radio, December 12th was my birthday, all I kept hearing about was Frank Sinatra. Well, at 6 years old, most kids didn't know who he was unless you were an adult and listened to him. And from that day on, I listened to Sinatra even today, every day. We still have the transistor radio.
That's Sinatra's birthday as well.
I know.
12th.
That's what happened because I turned it on about my birthday and I found about this guy from Hoboken and his humble beginnings. His mother was a barmaid. His father worked at Todd shipyards. And I said, well, if he could do it, he actually encouraged me because I just watched how many kids die in my ward. They weren't getting out of there at that time. We had no vaccine yet. Jonas Salk didn't invent it. And he encouraged me to get out of bed and crawl. And here I am, still many years later, fortunately.
Let me talk about another guy from Hoboken who lived 10 doors away from Sinatra, if you had any run-ins with him, Jimmy Roselli.
Well, Jimmy, and you know the famous story about them, don't you?
Somewhat, yeah. May elaborate me.
Well, his mother loved Jimmy Roselli. So she asked Frank for her birthday, I think it was her 60th birthday, she wanted Jimmy to sing at the show, of her party rather. And so Frank had his secretary call Dorothy and said, Jimmy, Mr. Sinatra would love you to sing at his mother's birthday. He said, why don't he sing for his mother? And he hung up on him.
Wow. Wow.
That destroyed his career.
Yes. Yes.
Do you know the story, Jeannie?
No, what was his name?
Jimmy Roselli was a famous Italian singer.
I
mean, really big.
Incredible.
And he
He's
said
incredible.
no.
I'm sorry, Mike?
He was
and
an
he
incredible-
said no. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mike.
No, he was an incredible singer. Sorry, go ahead.
No,
I mean, in the Italian culture, Jimmy Roselli was like the Sinatras.
wow.
So he said, he got insulted. And he said that to Dorothy, Frank's secretary, let her son sing. And he hung up. Well, if Frank Sinatra wants to bury you, he buries you. Like Tommy Sands played a game with his daughter, Nancy. He exiled him. He bought his contract and put him in Hawaii forever.
Wow.
He
Wow.
did the same thing to Jimmy Roselli. Jimmy Roselli could only sing in New Jersey.
Yeah, he couldn't sing on the West Coast.
Couldn't come to the West Coast at all. Couldn't get into a nightclub.
They took his
Frank
records
Sinatra put the word out, said that was it.
I think they took his records out of those little jukeboxes on the tables and everything.
Well,
Everything.
no, that was Roulette. You're right, because Roulette was owned by Chicago mob. They
Correct.
would put his records in the jukebox.
Wow.
Hey, so what you're saying is back then Frank Sinatra started the cancel culture.
Oh yeah, hello, yeah.
He started canceling them right off the bat.
No,
Yeah,
That's
but,
great.
but this cancel culture, they broke your legs.
Yeah.
oh,
Oh,
well,
wow.
I mean, Sinatra really wasn't mobbed up, but mob people did him favors because they wanted to be his friend.
Right.
Sure.
I know Frank really, I mean, fortunately, I knew Frank really, really well till the day he died. But anyway, why don't you tell your audience? I mean, but to me, when I heard your show, when I did your show, and the interview was the Hollywood Kid, I'm saying, wait a minute, I thought I was the Hollywood Kid.
So it's funny you mention that, Johnny, because like you said, Frank Costello gave you the nickname the Kid.
Right.
So when I was a young kid, little kid, 8, 9 years old, again, I was a big movie guy, big television guy, even back then. And we used to play poker with my buddies. You know, we had nothing to do. We're 10-year-old kids who play cards. And somebody got stumped on a movie line or an actor's name. And everybody's, oh, geez, I forget his name. I forget the name of the movie. And I would be right there. Boom, boom, just rattling them off. And all of a sudden, it just turned into something. They said, ask Mike. He's the Hollywood Kid. He knows everything about movies. People would
That's
call
how you got the name. I was going to ask you how you got that name. That's great.
They used to call me on the phone when they were playing poker, in that poker game. I'd pick up the phone. What's the matter? Mike, what's the name of that actor guy? We're having a beef over here. Oh, yeah, it's so-and-so. Okay, good. All right, bye. So that's how they get.
That's great. You know, I used to watch so many movies, and someone gave me and my kids this game called Seen It. And it's it asks questions about movies, and then whoever guessed the movie won. And I was blurting out answers, and I wasn't even really playing with them. And then I was blurting out answers to movies I hadn't even seen, and they were like, "We don't even want to play this anymore." They're like, because I could just blurt out some answers, but I used to go into movies. I had a little tiny baby. I'd get the big kids off to school, and there was a dollar theater by where I lived, and I would just take my little pal and plop her down there and sit in the movie by myself, peace and quiet.
Double feature. You watch a double feature.
That's right, peace and quiet. But yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it's so that's how I got my nickname, and so I went with that, and I used it for the title of the show, Real Talk with the Hollywood Kid, and it pretty much stuck. So we've been getting good traction. I mean, there's interviews up there with 150,000 views, 80,000, and the funny part is, guys, if I knew what I was doing, I'd probably have 1 million views. But it took me 40 minutes to get on the Zoom call tonight. You saw me. I mean, it's ridiculous.
I'm the same way. I'm not. Thank God for Mike Austin, who's our producer.
God bless him.
He's been with me for over 20 years, and a lot of other ventures also. But it's time for a break, isn't it?
Yes, I was just about to say that. It's just about to cut in. So more to continue in just a few minutes.
All right, we'll be right back. But I'm going to do the commercial myself right now because of the fact that on September 24th, listen to me, February 24th, on a Saturday night, I'm in Portland at the Elks Lodge. Call right away. I'll be there doing my show. As most of you know, I turned my book into a one-man show. It's 80 minutes. There's film clips. It's an evening you shouldn't refuse. So call the Elks Lodge, Portland, Maine, Saturday, February 24th. And let's get back to the show. And our new co-host, Mike, he'll be on every week. I think you're going to hang out with us, Mike?
Absolutely. As long as I can figure out this Zoom stuff, we're good. We're good.
Oh, well,
Mike?
we'll make it work.
That's right. Wait, am I pronouncing tell us your last name so we say it right?
Distasio, Distasio.
All
The
right,
name
great.
of the podcast is Real Talk with the Hollywood Kid. It's up on YouTube. I really, I would love if your audience go on there and subscribe. There's a ton of content. There's mini reels on there. I did like 6 to 8 minute videos, short videos, like Joey Ross. You remember Joey Ross?
No.
From Car 54, Where Are You? Remember Gunther? Remember Gunther?
Oh, I never watched TV.
Yeah, well, this is back in the old days.
I know, but I'm saying, understand what, since I was 13 years of age, I was out every night with Costello. I wasn't home watching television like the rest of you guys.
Don't blame you. Rolling with Costello and the boys at the Copa.
Oh yeah, I was the messenger. I used to go. I used to have to go get flowers for the table, and the first time they told me to get flowers for the table, I didn't know what they meant. You should go see Carmine and give you money and get the flowers for the table. So I go up and say, Carmine, he wants me to get flowers for the table, and he started laughing. He gave me an envelope. He's go to 62nd Street and Lexington Avenue. There's a hotel there, the Barbizon Hotel. Go to the second floor, ask for the night monitor up there, and give him the envelope. So I go there like a kid, and give the guy the envelope. And who comes down is Grace Kelly.
Wow. Come on. That's not even that's
Audrey Hepburn. They all went to the Barbizon Finishing School in New York. She lived in Philly. So now I had a cab, waiting. I had to take them to the Copa. And I didn't know who they were. And obviously then I became friends with her. Frank Sinatra and I used to go to the Red Cross Ball every year in Monaco after she married Rennie. And she became Princess Grace. I mean, these stories you can't even make up.
Yeah, you can't make that up. You can't make that up. You can't.
See, and they all wanted to be at the Copa because Costello had a table with Walter Winchell, Dorothy Kilgallen, and these are young starlets that wanted to be in the columns, and that's what they would do. But that was the meaning for flowers for the table. They were the flowers for the table. I thought I was buying flowers.
What a bouquet they made. Woo.
Oh, yeah.
Mamma mia. Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin would play the Copa when they first started out.
God, yeah. They were big in the Copa. I never liked Jerry, and then later on in life, it's a strange story. I became a big donor to when I had my casino in Vegas during the telethons. He had the muscular dystrophy telethon, and a lot of people don't know this because nobody realized why doesn't he do it anymore when he was alive. Now he's dead, but they found out and the world started to find out that his brother-in-law or somebody relative of his was the advertising portion of that. And that advertising portion took about 30%.
Really?
And that's why at the end of the show, he'd be crying because he didn't make enough money yet. And when I found that out, I went crazy on him. And I went crazy on him. I said, you bum, you're stealing all this money. And but anyway, Jerry and I at the end was not good. Dean till he died. I used to go see Dean at the La Familia restaurant when they drop him off, which I felt sorry for the guy. So I'd go in to see him every day. I lived in Beverly Hills for a while. And by 7 or 8 o'clock, he was sleeping on the table.
Wow.
When his son died, and he felt responsible for that. Do you know why? he convinced his son to join the National Air Guard. That was during
Wow.
the Vietnam War. And that's when he was on a maneuver and crashed in Palm Springs.
Wow.
And people don't realize he crashed about 50 feet from Nancy,
The mother,
Sinatra's mother,
Sinatra's
which
mother,
is
right?
totally ironic, But Dean felt that he caused that because he put the kid in there, and he was never the same again. Never.
What a shame. What a shame. His daughter Dina is great. I had her on. She's a doll.
Yeah. Well, Dino, I mean, I was doing him a favor for a while because she was down at the Feinstein's here on 61st Street. And he always used to send her 2 dozen white roses. So I did that for a while for her. But then am I crazy?
It started adding up.
Did you ever meet her husband?
No, no.
Oh, how could you be with him and her? He didn't
No,
show up.
I did an interview like this, you know.
Oh. I still don't know what the guy does other than being her husband.
He's the kid. He's the kid. She's Frank Costello. He's the kid.
Yeah, no, he's not the kid. Don't even insult me. But anyway,
I don't know what he does.
moving on.
I want to talk about Johnny. Do you know the night that Frank Sinatra lost his 2 front teeth?
Of course, I was there.
You were there?
Hotel?
Yes.
At the Sands Hotel. Are you kidding me? He asked for another $50,000 marker.
Yeah.
They cut him off because they never let him go more than his payroll, which was pretty high. So he was pretty down. It was a Saturday night closing night, and he asked for another $50,000 marker. And then the guy wouldn't give it to him. Well, you know who he asked, right?
Carl Cohen.
Yeah. And Carl is no slouch. And so he said, "You kike bastard, give me the 50,000." Carl went right over and punched him, knocked out his 2 front teeth. This is a classic line. Nobody ever said this. He said, "I'm going to make a phone call." Carl went to the cashier's change. He got a bunch of roll of dimes. He threw them at Frank. He said, "Make your calls. And when you need more dimes, I'll get them for you." Who's he going to call?
So how much truth is into it? Is it that he drove a golf cart through the window or no?
Yeah. Well,
he did.
Everybody did that, You see, went at the Sands Hotel, people don't realize it. Around whence they built the tower, they had all these like motel type things spotted around the whole property, and they were named after racetracks from the state you came from. So all the major New York guys were in the Aqueduct, and people they were like that. So they had golf carts for these kind of guys. But Julie Bodell, who ran and again because of Costello had the Copa there. They opened the Copa room there in the Sands, and so that whole and they had to work. There was 3 places they had to work for them. They worked the Copa in New York, the Copa there, and the Fontainebleau Hotel, because Ben Novak was the front for Meyer Lansky. Meyer Lansky owned the Fontainebleau.
Wow.
No, I mean, I got stories.
Great stories, Johnny, and that's what I'm going to bring to the show. I'm gonna mine Johnny's head a little bit. We're going to get some great stories from him because he's the best. I mean, there's nothing that you say, because I do a lot of research myself, and everything is solid. You know what I mean? Your stories are spot on. Obviously, you were there. You're like a conduit to the good old days.
Well, I had this conversation today, and I'm sharing with you two and the whole world. I'm in my final negotiation with Kensington Press. Now, people who don't know who Kensington is, they are one of the oldest publishers in New York City. They're 52 years of age. Their grandfather started it. The family still runs it. It's privately held. And today we went into the final negotiation with my guy, Frank Wyman, of the literary group. He's been my agent for 20 years for writing. And they made me an offer I can't refuse. And I'm writing new books. And I've got a lot of more stories coming out. And I'm writing already the book. and it takes place in 1963 to 1977, when Howard Hughes was financed by the federal government when an aircraft helicopter contract during the Vietnam War by Lyndon Baines Johnson, and the profits he had to use to buy hotels in Las Vegas.
Wow.
They wanted to infiltrate private business. So the CIA, the IRS couldn't do it. They used Bob Mayhew, Bill Dana. I know everybody's name. This is the new book. It's insane. Elvis is involved. Everybody's involved.
So correct me if I'm wrong, Johnny. So when Kyle Cohen knocked out Frank's teeth with no Novocaine, he that was Howard Hughes owned it at that time. Or no?
Right. See,
okay.
They just sold it to Howard Hughes.
Okay.
See,
okay.
But Howard Hughes didn't know. A group of guys, I can't mention some of their names, they're alive. In fact, I'm going to be his house guest in 2 weeks. They were building Caesar's Palace, and they had Jay Sarno front them. They got the land from Kirk Kerkorian, and it's called Caesar's Palace. It was 34 acres. And as soon as they opened, everybody left the stands. And Walter Kane was also with Howard Hughes, another guy that he's been with since the studios. And he was the entertainment director. And he was left there with Wayne Newton.
He's still there?
No, they all dead.
So because Frank went to the Caesars after the Sands debacle.
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
That's where they had to go.
Okay,
No,
right.
The people that were involved there was like, forget it. And everybody went there. I mean,
And the lounges back in those days, for some reason, was the place to be. Am I wrong?
oh my God, if you wanted to be coming up, like, I mean, Louis Prima.
Yes.
I mean, Louis Prima's lounge act would go on for days. You'd go there, the sun would come up, and you couldn't get, when you left the Copa room, there was lines already to get in there, and you had to know somebody, especially when Sinatra, Dean, or any of them were playing it, or if the Rat Pack was in, forget about it. You could never get a reservation. In the restaurants, nowhere. You had to be in the know or a player. But like the lounges were amazing. I mean, I found Shecky Green.
Wow.
He was discovered there. He was never in the
Wow.
lounge. Then you know who else? And we used to go see him. And when Sinatra walked in, he was the only person in the world that could say this to Sinatra. He said, "Oh, I heard the Skinny Guineas in the room."
Wow. Wow.
And got away with it. Don Rickles.
Oh my God.
Rickles was the lounge act.
Wow.
And Frank made his whole career. He brought him on Johnny Carson. He did everything. But until they died, they were really close. And
we just lost Shecky Green. I think it was Shecky Green who had that.
he just died. Yeah.
Yeah, he had a joke about Sinatra. He says, Frank Sinatra saved my life. And everybody's like,
oh, that's a true story.
Yeah.
He'd rock.
He said, how do you do that? Yeah.
He started using that line. And he was told not to call him a skinny guinea. And give him the punchline, how he saved his life.
He says, I was in an alley one night and 4 guys were beating up on me. He said, Frank Sinatra, come over. He said, all right, that's enough.
Yeah.
That's a true story.
That's he saved my life.
No, I mean, those kind of stories, like we're saying, even you had to be there and be a part of it. But I mean, that's why I really treasure my upbringing. And I mean, I have no education, thank God. But the thing is that, look what I did without it.
Yeah, exactly. Did you ever see the Rat Pack at the Sands?
Are you kidding? I kept the table at both shows, 8 o'clock and 12 o'clock. And then they caught on what I was doing because, I mean, Costello and them owned it.
Right.
I was selling the seats. I'd go in the lobby because I had 10 seats. I didn't need 10 seats. Maybe I had a date that I could sell 8. Angelo, the guy at the door, knew me well, the maitre d'. So I'd go and I'd see these couples, man, I'd pay anything. I said, how much you pay to go see? I'll pay $500. I said, give me your $500. Angelo, put them at my table. I was making $2,000 or $3,000 a show. It was like some found money to me.
Yeah.
It though.
Mike,
Right.
I'm sure you're familiar with Gianni, but I've never heard anyone just figure out a way to make a little money on anything he's doing. He's got a brilliant mind, and I wish I had something I could barter with to
Right.
make that work for me. But I don't have any fancy stuff going on. But boy, I've learned some things from him, and I'll tell you what. If I get an opportunity, I'm going to be smarter about what I'm doing.
Well,
Well,
you know, they don't teach you that in college, how to hustle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's, you know, when you grow up in the streets and you're making connections with people in the streets, this guy knows this guy, I know that guy, my cousin, my friend, he knows that guy, and that's it. There you go.
that's how it starts. That's how it starts.
That's
No,
awesome.
Pacino, I'm
Go ahead.
sorry.
No, you just mentioned somebody, and again, I heard a podcast. Ben Novak. You
Ben
mentioned
Novak,
was
yeah.
he?
He owned he was the front for the Fontainebleau Hotel for years.
Now, was he murdered?
I don't know that.
Do
When
you
you
know?
ask me about murders and I know what happened, I don't answer those questions.
Well, no, I think he was the guy that was murdered by his wife.
Oh, jeez.
Somebody
No,
know that.
no, that was the kid.
Oh, his son.
My son. Oh, that was the son.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not asking you. Yeah, no, I wouldn't ask you about, at least not on here. I might ask you on the side.
Oh,
but
yeah,
I
no, but I
know
mean,
you.
statute's a limitation. Murder is not in that statute.
No. I thought he was murdered by his wife, but it was Ben Novak's son.
Yeah, in New York, he got killed in a hotel room.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Crazy.
that's a while ago, yeah. Well, that kid, he was out of order anyway, but anyway. Moving on, let's talk about
Moving on,
nice
that's
things.
right. Next.
No, but I think, the elements and Mike, you stepping in is going to bring a different dimension, number one, and your background in your passion for it. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
Right. That's
And the people that you've gotten. I mean, I can't believe it, but it's and I think our audience is blessed, and we want to piggyback your show. If you want us, Mike will put you up with us and grab our audience. We'll grab your audience, and we'll help you.
Absolutely, Johnny. And, and for the audience listening out there, my audience, obviously Johnny's audience and Jeannie's, I'm always open to the viewership. If they got suggestions, there's always ways to contact us. Everything's out there nowadays. Ideas.
Yeah, he just mentioned something. Do you have an email you want to share for our guests from now on?
Sure.
Mike and not you, Mike, Jeannie, because I don't want you handling all that. We do a mailbag show once a month.
Oh, yeah, I know.
And we answer that. Do you want to give our audience some, or do you want to think about it, which one you want to create?
Me or Mike?
No, you. I
Oh,
want you
I
to
was
handle
just talking to Mike about that at the earlier. So we'll figure something out for right now. Can we still use our Hollywood Godfather one?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, let's do that. And then like you're saying, I think it's going to be a great collaboration with you, Mike. It's going to be great. What we'd love is if all of your followers would jump on and like all of our stuff, rate and review. Hopefully you'll like what we've got in store for the next year, and any one of our Hollywood Godfather followers do the same and go and click on Mike's great podcast. Because boy, I'll tell you what, the first thing I did when I heard about you, I immediately jumped on and started looking for real talk with the Hollywood Kid. So I think it's great. We're looking forward to
again. I mean, hopefully I'm going to bring some guests on. We're going to take some deep dives to something, some murder mysteries, and really get the audience. You want to shock them every week and give them some new, fresh content every week, because that seems to be the thing to do nowadays. Because there's so much stuff out there, like I said earlier. Even on the YouTube, there's tons and tons of stuff, and so you got to try to stick out. You have to have a niche. I mean, from what I do and from talking with Gianni, of course, the old Hollywood stuff is still valuable, and
it always will be. Always will be. The curiosity of Hollywood.
Right.
Well,
let me do one more commercial, then we'll come back and close it out. But I'm doing these commercials live now because I got so much going on. Fortunately, if you're in the New Jersey area, April 13th and 14th, I'll be at the Doubletree Hilton Hotel for a new thing that I'm involved in. And we're coming to Boston. We're coming to Boston in August. It's called Paisan Con. Like you have Thriller Con, Comic Con. We
Yes,
have
we're there.
Paisan Con. You got to be Italians to come to it. All our guests, celebrities. So this is the first one, April 13th and 14th. It's in Fairfield, New Jersey, at the Doubletree. Make your reservations now because that's going to sell out. We got major people coming, friends of mine that want to help support it, and it's a first. Everybody had a con. How come no Italians had a con? We got a con now, and we were the first in cons. Real con on the street.
The original con right there.
The original con. All right,
I
we're
love
back
that.
from our commercial. We're going to sign off. I think we have something now that is a lot different. We have two different audiences. We have three audiences with you, where you are on the West Coast, and it's. I welcome you. I thank you for getting in touch with us, and I think we have something now that is really going to take us to another level.
Yeah. And again, thank you guys for having me. You know, it's nice that I can bounce ideas, and especially when I got Johnny Russo in front of me. Do you know what I mean? If I like I just asked you about what did you know anything about the two front? Yeah, absolutely. I was there. I mean, who else am I going to tell that? Where else would I go?
That's only because I'm old and I was in the Sands every night. And then we went to Caesars. We just made Caesars every night. No.
They want to do, hey, buddy, you ever been to the Sands? No, you know. So this is great. This is great. We're gonna have a lot of fun, and we're gonna have some great guests. You know, we're gonna have some fun. And
yeah, I do love what you said. Gianni has a little something with every topic that you brought up. It was like, do you know this? So that's going to be so fun because you'll have Gianni's take on. So far, you haven't stumped him with anything, so
nothing.
That's fantastic.
Unstumpable. He's the unstumpable man.
No. It's just I've been at. You know, I told somebody today we were in talking, and every time they brought up something, I was like that contributing. They said, "But Johnny, you're only 81." I said, "But you understand this? I hit the streets when I was 13. Normally, back then." After you finish college, 21, 22, you hit the streets. So I'm really 91 because I had the experience of being at the Copa every night at that age. I'm hanging out with these people. I used to hang out with Paul Wilson.
Bobby Rydell showed up? Rydell. No?
Why would Bobby Rydell show up at the Copa? When was that?
He sang there. I interviewed him too.
Oh, no, but Bobby Rydell. No. But I was there. I'll give you a story. I was there the night a bowling team from Brooklyn was heckling Sammy Davis Jr. and calling certain names. And at the next table was the Yankees, the team, celebrating. They cleared the room. They wrecked guys.
Mickey and Billy Martin, they were nuts.
Yeah. They went crazy, and all of a sudden, they all, because they were Yankees, nobody put them out in handcuffs, but they had to go down. Costello called them all. He said, "Don't go down. Don't worry about nothing." And nobody ever heard about no charges. They sent some people to Brooklyn where these guys were and said, "Stay home, keep your mouth shut, or you're dead."
Wow. If we got time, if I could tell this one, you probably, I mean, I'm talking to the guy who you can't stump. Anyways, there's a famous story about Mickey Mantle and Billy Martin. So Billy Martin went to go be the manager of the Texas Rangers. So he came into town with the team, with the Rangers, and he says, "Hey, Mickey, listen, the owner of the Rangers gave me a brand new shotgun." He says, let's go hunting somewhere. You know anybody? He said, "Yeah, I know a friend of mine. He's got tons of acres upstate New York, blah, 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 blah." He says, "I go up there all the time. We get some deer once in a while." He says, "All right." So they both played practical jokes on each other a lot when they were playing together on the same team. So they take the ride up to upstate New York. The guy's a doctor. So Mickey Mantle says, "Billy, sit here, stay here in the car." And he goes, "Let me go ask him if it's okay. Let me get his permission." So he knocks on the door and he says, "Whatever, Dr. So-and-so." He goes, "Listen, I got Billy Martin in the car. Can we go get some deer on your farm. He said, yeah, no problem, Mickey. He goes, but can you do me a favor? Sure, anything. He goes, I got a mule in the back over there. Hasn't done any work in years. He says, can you put him down for me? I don't have the heart. He says, all right. So he runs back to the car. He opens the door and he starts grabbing the rifle out of Billy Martin's his hand. He goes, what are you doing, Mickey? What are you doing? He goes, the son of a bitch, he won't let us use his farm for, to go get some deer. He says, I got to go kill his mule. So he walks up to the mule. He points the gun at the mule and he shoots the mule. All of a sudden behind him he hears boom. He goes, what are you doing, Billy? He goes, I got one of his cows too.
Oh,
That's a true story. Look it up, folks.
I love that, man. But that's a great way to end the show. Well,
With a bang.
with a bang.
That's right.
Two bangs.
oh, that's funny.
Well, this is our new show, guys. So, and ladies out there, you'll never know what's going to be happening here. A new show's posted every Wednesday. We're going to share it with the Hollywood Kids audience. God bless you all. Jeannie, always a pleasure. Mike, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
God bless.
Be careful out there. It's dangerous.
That's right. Thank you.
And that was that. But I'll be back.
No regrets, no complaints. Lived a life with no restraints. The little kid they all counted out proved them all wrong, that's without a doubt. Laying there with my left side numb, 5-year bout with polio, but yes, I won. From standing on corners like how many pens you want to living in a bakery, then opening my own restaurant. Of course I had some help along the way, friends like Frank Costello that I miss each and every day. Things from many years ago still resonate. I can still see it like it's yesterday. Eating pasta with Frank Sinatra, me and Marlon Brando.